culture.
Cut off the bat phone, prevent Krypto from barking, silence the Green Lanterns, and with muffled drum, bring out the super coffin. Let the mourners come. They're bright, colourful, and sometimes quite far-fetched, but man, do superhero comics involve a lot of death? After all, it's the easiest, cheapest way of getting a massive reaction out of the fans. And it works. I'm Ben from What Culture, and here are the 10 most tragic deaths in the history of DC Comics. Number 10. Alexandra DeWitt. Kyle Rayner was the third Green Lantern, following on after Golden Age's Alan Scott and fan-favorite Silver Ager Hal Jordan went crazy and murdered half a universe. He was a very different kind of Lantern, with something of the California surfer dude about him, and a fairly light tone. Well, until villain Major Force killed his new girlfriend and stuffed her body in the fridge. That's not something you get over quickly. Number 9. Superman. The death of the Man of Steel himself made national news when it happened way back in the 90s. Obviously, we all knew it wasn't going to last, but there was still a particular poignancy about the murder of the last son of Krypton. He was happy, he had told Lois his secret, everything was coming up Superman. But then he ended up dead, bludgeoned to a pulp by new villain Doomsday. It was all too real, and it was long-lasting, both in the public consciousness and in the Superman comics too, as his supporting cast tried to deal with the tragedy of losing their greatest champion, their closest friend, their one true love. That's pretty sad, right? Number 8. The Question. The Question was never meant to be a big deal. He almost faded into oblivion until a revival in the 80s saw him cameo in other stories, and then in 52, where the universe tried to deal with the year-long disappearance of its biggest superheroes. The witty new version of the character trained up Detective Renee Montoya to replace him as The Question, and their relationship made it all the more hard to take when he died of lung cancer at the end of the series. Number 7. Aquababy. Once upon a time, DC Comics was a safe space. Nothing bad happened there, or so it was until an Aquaman comic killed a baby. The undersea Superman ruled happily alongside wife Mera and son Arthur Jr., otherwise known as Aquababy. It was all rather quaint, like an underwater Waltons. Well, that's if the Waltons had an episode in which a supervillain, Black Manta in this case, locked the baby in a box to suffocate him. That's pretty messed up. Number 6. Elongated Man. Elongated Man was another victim of the 52 series, which seemed like less of an opportunity for writers to bring back some of their favorite obscure characters, and more like a chance to kill them off. Ralph spends a year trying to revive his dead wife after failing to save her, before joining her in the afterlife. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't done in such an unnecessarily mean fashion, as he was murdered by mystical villain Neron, who chucks Dibny's own wedding ring through his heart. Number 5. Stephanie Brown. In the early noughties, we got the first ever female Robin, and Stephanie Brown wasn't like previous Robins in many ways, including the differing number of X chromosomes. Hey, women and men are different. Originally starting as Spoiler, she took over Tim Drake's place as Batman's sidekick for, well, about a fortnight until she was killed off unceremoniously during the course of the War Games crossover. It wasn't fair. Number 4. Blue Beetle. The most famous and beloved character to fight crime as the Blue Beetle was definitely one Ted Kord, who is mostly remembered as a goofy character in humorous comics. That made his death even harder to take. Blue Beetle met his fate in Countdown to Infinite Crisis, where he was captured whilst infiltrating the nefarious Checkmate organization, and then shot in the head by its leader, Maxwell Lord. Poor Ted. He was just trying to help. Number 3. Various Robins. How does Bruce Wayne keep being allowed to adopt kids? He keeps killing or losing them. The first sidekick to fall in the line of duty was Jason Todd, who was hated so much that the fans voted for his death. You could call him as shit Robin for wankers, hashtag shit Robin for wankers, although he was good as Red Hood, right? I liked him anyway. Then there was Damian Wayne, who was even more annoying than Todd, though his death was legitimately tragic. He was killed by his own clone on the orders of his own mother, Talia al Ghul. Jesus, calm down, DC. Number 2. Jonathan Kent. Superman's adoptive father is like the DC Universe's equivalent of Marvel's Jean Grey. In other words, he just keeps dying, and being resurrected, and dying again, and being resurrected, and dying. In the Golden Age, the Kents both died not long after Clark's high school graduation, and even when he changed history and saved both, Jonathan was killed by Brainiac. In the first film, he died of a heart attack. In the comics, he has too, and he's been run over. And then in Man of Steel, he died for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Some people are just destined to be gravestones, I suppose. Number 1. The Flash. With the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, DC needed to do some housekeeping to stop confusion over their multiverses, and that meant deaths. Supergirl's death is often brought up, but Barry Allen's was even more tragic. Having managed to make it through the most trying period of his superhero career, he ends up dead when Anti-Monitor releases a weapon that would destroy the whole universe, but Barry saves the day, sucking up all that bad mojo with the Speed Force and killing himself in the process. It's a heroic sacrifice, but a bloody upsetting one all the same. And that's our list. Are there any we missed off? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even follow me here on Twitter if you fancy. I'm Ben from WhatCulture, and thanks for watching.